guys, and welcome back to another video. So as you can see, I am in the process of doing my hair right now, and it's about 10:30 p.m. here. I'm ready to go to bed, but I washed my hair tonight, and if I sleep, matlab baal dhoke if I just sleep, I wake up looking like I have a bird's nest on my head, which is why I like setting my hair before going to bed. So what I did was I blow dried it, and now I'm using my straightener to curl it. And in the meanwhile, I thought, why not just answer some of the questions that you all asked me. I put up a question sticker a few days ago, and I thought it'd be interesting to do this video because I genuinely like doing Q&As because I feel like I'm interacting with so many of you, which is something that I don't get to do a lot through my Instagram because most of my posts are educational and it's not really like my face or videos of me where I'm actually having a conversation with y'all, which is why I decided to do this video. And yeah, if you guys are interested in this, then please keep on watching. If you enjoyed the video, you know the drill. Give me a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell button, and without further ado, let's get into these questions. I will be doing my hair side by side, okay? So let's start. Okay, the first question I have is, what did you do your post-grad in? So I have this video that I made when did I make it? I think in January. I actually came up with a video in January. It was 25 random facts about me. I'm gonna link it over here, so if anyone's interested in finding out more about me, you can go watch that. But to answer your question, I did my master's in global business and my specialization was e-business. I graduated in January 2020. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been over a year since I graduated. The next question that I have is, are you a full-time entrepreneur or do you still have that management job? Okay, so for those of you who have no idea what context this is, I was working at Aditya Birla Capital till October 2020. So I was doing an internship there, which I started in June. It was a project management role. It was a nice role. I enjoyed doing that work, but I got my fitness certifications done. So ever since I got my certifications, I wanted to coach, right? So I knew that I wanted to be working in the fitness industry, and that's when we came up with Team Meraki, right? Like we officially got it registered and stuff. So when I was leaving the company, they actually approached me for a full-time role, to which I said no. So they knew about the fact that, you know, I had just founded this startup with two of my colleagues, and they said that if I were to work with them full-time, I would have to leave the startup because obviously for legal reasons, you can't be, you know, associated with more than one company at a time. And that situation was a bit tricky, honestly, because here I just started coaching. You know, Team Meraki was very new. It is still very new, but there's this sense of fulfillment that I get from working in this industry, being a coach, helping people out. And you know, apart from that, obviously the flexibility factor is a huge part of it, you know. I thought a lot about this, and I was basically picking an unstable income over a stable income, right? So I think all my life I've been brought up to believe that you need stability in your life, and that, you know, a job is much better than starting your own business because it gives you that stability, right? Every month you have a certain amount of income coming in, and in a business it doesn't work that way. Some months are good for us, some months aren't that great for us. But I love the thrill. I don't mind, you know, I don't mind not knowing how much I'm gonna generate the coming month. Like, I would rather hustle for it and make it happen. Like, I know I have a few fixed expenses per month. All I try to do is make sure that I have those covered, and then whatever I earn on top of that, a portion of that goes to my savings and a portion of that is used for my own expenses, which aren't really a lot at the moment. So yeah, I am a full-time entrepreneur. I decided not to go ahead with the full-time role. It was a big leap of faith, and I have absolutely no regrets that I went ahead and took it, that I listened to my heart. All these baby hair. That's like the most ouch. I burnt myself. Okay, so the next question that I have is, do you get nervous while giving presentations or talking in a team meet? If yes, how do you tackle it? So the thing is, I have always been very outgoing. I've always been into public speaking right from the age of 7, I would say, since first standard, primary 1. I've loved being on stage. I've loved holding the mic. I've loved talking to big crowds. So I think presentations and speaking in front of large masses was never something that I feared. It's actually something that I enjoyed doing, and I still do enjoy that. But obviously, if it is a very important presentation, then I do get the jitters, right? Like if there is something at stake, obviously I have those nervous butterflies in my stomach. But like it isn't too bad. I think what I do is I take a few deep breaths, as cliche as this may sound, and I tell myself it's going to be okay. And one thing I've observed is, even if I'm really nervous before a presentation, once I start and I get into the flow of it, I'm good to go. So I keep telling myself that it's just the start that's going to be a bit scary, and then what you're going to be talking about and you will do perfectly fine. So I'm sorry I don't have like solid advice on that, but this is what I do. Okay, so the next question I have is, isn't playing with data and numbers for fitness etc. a total playground? Absolutely. I love numbers because I love structure. So I love maths. So even like when I am sort of tracking somebody's progress, okay, if it's a client, I'm tracking their progress, I love sitting down and calculating their week on week body weight averages, how much they're eating on a daily basis, correlating data with other data. So for example, let's say one client sees a sudden spike in weight, okay, on one particular day. I love taking up that challenge, going to their nutrition graphs, because I can see their nutrition graphs too, and trying to make some sort of a relation. So if, for example, the day before they had an excessively high amount of carbohydrates, I might be like, acha chalo, maybe his or her body is holding on to more water, that is reflecting in an increase in body weight on the scale. So I love doing this, and yeah, to answer your question, absolutely, I love it. We actually make a lot of use out of the data that we get from our clients, and in fact, one thing that we always do is we tell our clients, hey, listen, this is a two-way street, and the more data you give me, the more I'm going to be able to help you out on your journey, correct? Because if you give me like 2 data points versus giving me like 10 data points, obviously there's going to be a huge difference there. As you can see, I'm not that great when it comes to curling this side of my hair because I am right-handed, so ऐसे करना थोड़ा tough हो जाता है, but I'm trying. Okay, moving on. The next question is, ideal split of strength and cardio sessions per week for weight loss. Okay, my friend, so for weight loss, first of all, you've got to understand the fundamentals, and that is going to be being in a deficit, correct? So it does not technically matter whether you do 4 sessions of strength and 2 sessions of cardio, or 5 sessions of strength and no cardio. As long as you're in a deficit, you lose weight, and this deficit can be generated through your nutrition. I'll tell you why it's a smarter thing to do that. Because when it comes to tracking how much you're burning through exercise, there's no real way to do that accurately. Your smartwatches, your Apple Watch, your Fitbit, all these things are highly inaccurate, and I'm saying anywhere between 30% to 100%. So rather than relying on that to determine how much you need to consume to be in a deficit, you should be generating that through your nutrition itself. So again, once you understand the principles of energy balance, you will be able to execute. Okay, the next question is, how do you take care of your hair? Working out every day makes hair so gross and sweaty. Okay, so you are literally seeing me burning my hair live in front of you all. This is something I do every 3 to 4 days, and I know it isn't good. Okay, I know it isn't good for my hair, but I don't know. I'm just not one of those people who has hair that cooperates. If I don't use some sort of heat to set my hair, I've got wavy hair. I like the waves, but they don't cooperate, especially at the crown region. It's a mess, which is why I use heat a lot. But in terms of washing my hair and the whole workout situation, look, if my hair is gross and sweaty, I'm gonna wash it. I don't care if I'm not supposed to do that more than once a week or twice a week, whatever it is. For me, feeling clean, my scalp feeling clean is of utmost priority, right? I need that. So if I am training legs at the gym, or I'm training back at the gym, and I'm sweating like crazy and I've washed my hair yesterday, I'm gonna wash it again today, because if I don't, I'm just gonna feel super uneasy throughout the day. So that is something that I don't think too much about. My hair needs to be clean, my scalp needs to be clean, then I'll just go ahead and wash it. Also, the gym I work out at is generally very cold. The AC is on full blast all the time, so I barely ever even sweat unless I'm doing deadlifts or heavy squats. So yeah, that also works in my favor a bit. Moving forward, your favorite and least favorite exercise or circuit. Okay, so my least favorite exercise would be, what is my least favorite? I would say the barbell bench press, because I am weak at it. That's the only reason why. It's an exercise that just makes me feel super weak, but it's something that I'm actively trying to get better at. Oh my god, no, what am I saying? My least favorite thing to work out is my abs. I never do it ever. Like, I have programmed it into my current routine, but it's such a bad thing that I end up missing that day. I don't know, I've never had the drive to train my abs ever. It's not something I enjoy doing at all. So yeah, that's got to be my least favorite. My favorite part of my body to train is definitely shoulders and back. I love it. And specifically when it comes to exercises, I love, for shoulders, I would say I love lateral raises, upright rows. For my back, I love doing deadlift. For my lower back, I love doing kayak rows on the cable. It's just something that hits my lats like nothing else. And I have been doing a lot of assisted pull-ups, because a goal of mine this year is to get one unassisted pull-up. I think that's been a dream of mine forever. I've always wanted to do one pull-up, and I've been working out for 5 years. You would think that I should be able to do one by now, but the truth is I never specifically trained for it. So when it comes to fitness, there is a concept called the principle of specificity. So if you're trying to specifically get better at something, you're going to have to train in that manner, and I never did that, which is why I'm not able to do a pull-up right now. So I have started incorporating more assisted pull-up training, so that at some point this year I'd be able to do a pull-up. I used to straighten my hair for years. Like, I would never curl it because I naturally have wavy hair, right? So, and I never liked that look. But then I realized that the only reason I don't like my natural hair is because it's wavy, but it doesn't cooperate with me. But now I like waves much more, because I feel like it adds so much volume to your face, and straight hair just looks flat. Anyway, moving on. The next question I have is, why don't you start some reels on fitness and health? Honestly, this is something that has crossed my mind. I feel like I just don't get the best ideas when it comes to reels, because my profile is very fact based, right? I like doing research and putting facts forward, but to be able to twist them in a creative way and shoot and edit it in such a way that it's entertaining to the crowds, I feel like I do not have the kind of talent to do that. I don't know, it could be me undermining myself, but I personally feel like there are so many people out there who are so talented, and they come up with the most entertaining reels. I personally, it doesn't strike me, but if it ever does, if there is something that comes up which I feel like, chalo, I'm gonna make a reel out of this, then I will try it. I'm open to it, but so far nothing has really struck me. So the next question I've been asked is my 5 wardrobe essentials. For the longest time, okay, not for the longest time, but I think for the last 3 or 4 years, majority of my wardrobe has consisted of activewear. And and anybody who's been following me for a while knows this. I used to live in activewear, and because of that, I had this major lack of normal clothes. And even when it came to normal clothes, I have this very typical style that I keep going back to, and that is, you know, full sleeved comfortable t-shirts or tops paired with jeans or joggers. Like, I love stuff like that. So I'm not like the most fashionable person out there, but I'm trying to make a change. And with all these, you know, fashion bloggers coming up, I'm so grateful to them because they're giving me some sort of sense of what I should put in my closet. Right now, if you were to ask me my 5 wardrobe essentials, number 1 is going to be a good pair of joggers. Number 2 is a pair of jeans that fits you at the waist, at the bum, and at the thighs. We all know that is something that's very hard to find. Okay, the 3rd wardrobe essential would be a nice top that can function as day wear and night wear. Okay, so some sort of a very pretty top, you know that category wherein you're going out with your friends and then someone asks you, hey, what are you wearing? And you're like, jeans and a nice top. So all my girls who are watching this know exactly what I'm saying. Like, you need one of those nice tops that you can go back to, that you can dress up and dress down according to the occasion. So that's going to be the 3rd one. The 4th one is going to be a little black dress. Obviously, everyone needs one, and I don't own one. I think some sort of a jacket, like a leather jacket or a denim jacket or something that you can use to dress up the top that I mentioned previously. Like, I feel it can really change a look, right? If you're wearing a t-shirt and jeans and you just throw on like a leather jacket and it suddenly becomes party wear. I may have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about here. So all of you who are into fashion, please forgive me if I'm making major fashion mistakes. I'm trying to change, but this is just off the top of my head right now. I feel like a jacket can really, you know, amp up a look completely. So that's gonna be my 5 wardrobe essentials. The next question I have is very different. Okay, some of you know that I am from the Konkan region, like that is where my native place is. So this person's asked me, I know it doesn't sound practical, but I've heard a lot of ghost stories related to Konkan. Will you share some? Honestly, you know, before I answer this question, I want to say that I am an absolute chicken when it comes to horror. Matlab, I am that person who needs to watch some sort of a cartoon after I watch a horror movie. नहीं तो मुझे नींद नहीं आती. When it comes to ghost stories, you know, honestly, when I've heard a lot of these stories, but I've never experienced anything. Thank God I haven't. But because my mom grew up there, my Mausies grew up there, I have heard stories that my Mausies told me. You know, she and her husband also have seen. I'm getting goosebumps right now. Have seen, you know, ghosts. They've seen them there. Like, I have goosebumps all over my skin. Okay, so when my uncle was very young, he and his brother were crossing this bridge to get to their house at night. And he said something about seeing an old woman in a white sari, and he and his elder brother crossed that woman, and his brother said, don't look back. And being a very obedient kid, he did look back, and that lady was nowhere to be seen, even though she was like halfway across the bridge when they crossed her, and there was no way that she could have, you know, walked so fast to disappear into the night. So yeah, even just talking about these things really makes you know, my hair stand, because I can't even imagine how I would have reacted in that situation. But my aunt says that, you know, ghosts aren't really bad, like they're not really there to harm you. But there's a lot of, you know, folk stories that go around, and I don't think that's only related to Konkan. I'm pretty sure it must be something that's very common in any sort of, you know, countryside village. It's just somehow things are scarier there now, because we are so used to the city lights, and you know, the city never sleeps, Mumbai never sleeps, Pune never sleeps. So suddenly when you go to the countryside and there's only a few houses around, and after like 8 or 9 p.m, you know, everything's silent and it's all dark. I don't know, it's a bit scarier there. But yeah, there are a lot of ghost stories related to the Konkan region, and I
hope that I never experience anything like what I've heard. Okay, the next question I have is push-pull leg or full body workout. Again, my answer is going to disappoint you, but it depends. Okay, now if, like, very frankly, if you are somebody who's, you know, relatively new to training, then I would say go ahead with full body first, and then ease your way into push-pull legs. But even if you're intermediate, you've been working out for a while and you have progressed upwards to a volume where you can't train your entire body in a single day, that's when you move to a split leg push-pull legs. So both have their own advantages. There's no reason why an intermediate person can't do full body workouts, like especially if you are short on time in terms of the frequency that you can go to the gym in a single week. Like you have a very busy week, you can only go twice in the coming week. There's nothing wrong with doing full body. It's just the overall volume per muscle group drops in full body. So yeah. Alright guys, so that is going to be it for this video. As you can see, my hair is finally done, and so are all the questions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did filming it. It was actually really nice just sitting here and having this kind of conversation. If you'd like me to do more of such videos, please leave me a comment below. Also like, share, subscribe, do all those wonderful things, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.